The hearing room was silent, packed with city officials, journalists, and citizens who had waited years for accountability. On the screen behind the podium, blown up larger than life, was a single sheet of paper, an incident report stamped with the police department's seal. At the microphone stood Detective Carla James, her badge clipped neatly to her blazer, her voice steady as steel. "This," she said, pointing at the form, "is supposed to be a record of truth. But in this department, it became a shield for lies." Gasps rippled. A commissioner shifted in his chair, his face pale. Carla let the silence stretch. "You're probably wondering how I ended up here," a cop exposing her own department. "To understand, we need to rewind to the first time I realized silence was no longer an option. It began on an ordinary Thursday night. The radio crackled with reports of suspicious activity near a convenience store. Officers rolled up fast, lights flashing. At the center of the scene was DeShawn Brown, a college sophomore carrying a backpack. He'd stopped for a soda after class. Within minutes, he was pressed against the hood of a cruiser, handcuffed, accused of casing the store. Carla, arriving late to the call, scanned the situation. The store owner was confused. He hadn't called in a complaint. DeShawn had no stolen goods, no weapon, just a backpack of textbooks. Yet the arresting officers filled out their reports. Matched suspect description, resisted questioning, fit the profile. Carla read the report later and felt her stomach turn. The words didn't match what she'd seen. She tucked a copy into her desk drawer. It was just instinct at first. Days later, DeShawn was released. Charges dropped, case dismissed. But the damage lingered. Mugshot online, classes missed, reputation scarred. He told Carla quietly, "Doesn't matter if I did nothing. The paper says I did." She stared at the incident report again. That was the moment it stopped being routine paperwork and started becoming a weapon. That night, she opened a folder. At the front, she placed DeShawn's report, the first seed of truth. If you've ever felt like the official story about you or someone you know didn't match reality, comment below. Your story might help someone else know they're not alone. Carla began noticing patterns. Reports describing furtive movements that were never seen. Resisting arrest, checked off when body cam footage showed compliance. Arrest logs stacked with young black men for loitering, while white groups in the same areas walked free. Inside the department, microaggressions piled up too. Colleagues called Carla too sensitive when she questioned stops. At briefings, her suggestions were ignored until repeated by others. Once, after she pushed for restraint in a tense situation, a sergeant muttered, "Maybe this job's too rough for you." Each slight, each false report, Carla copied and slid into her folder. The stack grew heavier. The incident report wasn't just paper anymore. It was a mask for power. The breaking came with another call. A teenager was stopped on his bike for matching a burglary suspect. He was slammed to the ground, his bike tossed aside. The report later claimed he attempted escape and became aggressive. But Carla had arrived seconds after, seen the boy crying, hands raised. She printed that report, slid it into the folder, and whispered, "Not this time." But the system was watching. Her captain summoned her. "Detective James, you've got a good career ahead. Don't wreck it chasing ghosts. These reports are procedure. Focus on real work." Her access to case files shrank. Rumors spread. Carla's gone soft. Patrol partners grew distant. The walls of silence tightened. Then came the night her folder vanished. Her office drawer was empty. Panic surged. She rifled through every file, every cabinet. Gone. On her desk, taped neatly, was a single incident report, the very first one from DeShawn's arrest. On the margin, scrawled in block letters, "You're not alone." Her heart pounded. Someone else inside wanted this exposed. Whispers started. An admin clerk quietly slid her a flash drive. "Look for yourself," she whispered. On it, a spreadsheet of disciplinary complaints. Officers with multiple allegations of bias, all quietly sealed, never investigated. A patrol officer passed her a stack of unsigned reports. "They told me to file these under my name. I couldn't do it." Piece by piece, the folder was rebuilt, thicker than before. The incident report had evolved from routine form to weaponized truth. The confrontation came at the Civilian Oversight Commission. Carla requested time under department transparency. Executives expected her to present statistics. Instead, she placed the folder on the podium, lifted the incident report, and began. One by one, she read the lies. Reports claiming resistance contradicted by footage. Arrests with no cause but race. Data showing complaints buried. And then she held up DeShawn's report. This young man was cuffed, humiliated, scarred, not for what he did, but for who he was. And this paper made it official. The room erupted. Gasps, shouts, reporters scribbling furiously. The commissioners sat frozen. If this moment makes you feel the weight of how paper can be used as a weapon, share this video. Shine a light where silence has covered too much. The aftermath was uneven. Some reports were reopened. Officers quietly retired. The department announced new training initiatives. DeShawn's record was formally expunged, his name cleared on paper at last. But Carla knew better than to believe in fairy tales. Paperwork still shielded power. Reports were still filed. The system had cracked, but not fallen. Back in her office, she placed the commission's statement into the folder. On top, she set DeShawn's report, the margin notes still visible. "You're not alone," she whispered. "This isn't over." Some stories don't end with perfect justice. They end with questions. Whose truth gets written down? Whose words become law? And when the report is in your hands, will you let it erase, or will you use it to expose? Before you click away, think, have you ever had to fight the official story? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe, because every report we share here becomes part of a bigger truth.